Without consistency, your
Powered by
talent is
Riverside FM.
worthless, I would say. I know some people, they have really good, they are talented, they are smart. They listen something and they understand it, they can pronounce it correctly, like even like, some other language, let's say Arabic, Japanese or Chinese,
Hmm.
they hear it and they can pronounce it like, like a native speaker. But if they don't work on work on that language or work on themselves to learn the language, they talent is worthless.
Hello and welcome to the Fluency Project, the podcast where language learners unlock their potential. We're on a mission to empower language learners by sharing practical tools, new ways of thinking, and inspiring stories so you can break through barriers and thrive in your language journey. I'm your host, David Herrera, and in every episode, I'll sit down with polyglots, educators, and everyday learners who have cracked the code. Together, we'll explore the habits, the strategies, and aha moments that make fluency achievable for you. Today's guest is Sardor Ergashev, an amazing polyglot, a recent MBA graduate from the University of Denver, and an incredible friend. If you're learning Spanish, English, or French, we got your back. Grab our free Fluency Starter Kit at thefluencyproject.com. It's packed with the tools you need to achieve that goal. And if you're ready to fast track your progress, book a free discovery call with us. We'll build a personalized plan to get you speaking confidently. All that is at thefluencyproject.com. Now, let's dive into today's conversation.
Hey, Sardor, welcome to the podcast.
Hey David, thank you so much. Thanks for inviting me.
Oh, for sure, my man. Thanks for accepting the invitation.
Sure.
Um, well, in this podcast, I'm exploring unconventional ways to learn languages. So we want to find the different ways that we can break the education barriers and hear from polyglots, teachers, and self-taught learners.
Okay.
So before we dive in, tell us a bit about yourself. Where are you from? What do you do? And what languages do you speak?
Yeah, my name is Sardor, last name is Ergashev. I'm 30 years old. I'm from Central Asia, the country called Uzbekistan. So I graduated back in my country, University of London. It's called Westminster International University in Tashkent. Um, my background was a business administration, but I ended up working for an audit company called Ernst and Young. And now I'm almost done with my MBA. I'm here at the University of Denver, a full scholarship student, and I speak four languages, which are Uzbek, Russian, Tajik, and English.
Well, that's amazing, man. You're the first polyglot in this podcast, so that's
Thank
already
you.
an accomplishment for me. Well, that's great. And well, I've been with you for almost 2 years now, and I have hear you, talking in Russian and everything. That's pretty amazing. So, well, let's start at the beginning. What was your first language, and how did you get into learning others?
So, basically, my mother language is Uzbek, but second language back in my country is Russian, and I learned this by hearing, by watching, by talking. I've never went for a class, for Russian class, specifically for this language. I had some Russian friends or friends who spoke in Russian. By speaking with them, like by making mistakes first, I learned this language. And plus, I still watch movies in Russian, sometimes in English and sometimes in Russian, and I listen to some Russian music. By this way, I learned Russian language. I still make some grammatical mistakes, but my Russian is pretty fluent. Yep.
It's pretty cool. So your mother language is Uzbek, and then
Mhm.
you decided to learn Russian, which is the second language of the country. Is that right?
That's right. That's right. You're absolutely right.
All right. And what are the other two languages again?
It's a Tajik and English. Tajik
Got it.
Tajik language is basically it comes from Persian language. It's not the same, but it's similar.
I see. Okay. What was the moment that you realized that I need to learn these other two languages?
Okay, that's the interesting part. So Tajik language, I live in a neighborhood where people speak in Tajik, and
Okay.
like my neighbors, my friends, I grew up in this kind of neighborhood, so they spoke in Tajik. So I I learned this language by mostly hearing. I don't know how to write in this language, but I can speak in this language because I never went to school or never watch movie, never I don't read in this language. I only speak in this language. So I think that's why I only, without reading, writing, I only speak with my friends. Like I have some close friends who speaks in Tajik language.
That's amazing. I mean, uh, learning by just hearing, that's a huge talent, and that is
Yeah,
amazing. So
that's right. The
that's
first
great.
you don't understand what's going on, like, but by speaking and by actions, by doing after speaking, so you watch these kind of things and you can learn this language.
That's interesting. So that kind of leads me to my next question, because a lot of people think you need to sit down in a classroom and learn the language and do some homework on that. But your approach is different because you were just hearing.
Yep.
What do you think is the most important of that process of just hearing? What do you think about that?
I would say hearing is pretty important in learning a new language because if you don't hear or if you don't like speak while you hear with like other person, you don't get a fluency or you don't know how to pronounce that word or you don't know how to speak with that person. When I learned this language, as I said, I only learn by hearing this language. Some words I don't know the meaning, but I know when to use that word. If you
I
ask
see
me
what you
that
mean.
word, if you ask me about that word, the meaning of that word in English or in Russian or in Uzbek, I don't know. But I know when to use that word when I speak in that language.
That's pretty amazing, man. And I kind of remember when I was learning English, I learned English by myself. I self-taught.
Yep, I
So
know. Yep.
I remember hearing those words, and I didn't know at all what was the meaning of that word. Um, but I knew the context, and I kind of understand the whole thing, and but I didn't need to understand the specific word. So I think that
Yep.
is a valuable skill that anyone can get.
That's right.
Understanding the context. Do you think some near future is going to be, or for you at least, is going to be necessary to learn how to write in these other two languages, or do you think it's just for now is enough to talk to people and be able to communicate your ideas?
Uh, I would say it's for now, it's enough just to talk in that language because it's not world language. Uh, Only I would say like two countries speak in that
Okay.
language. Like some parts of in my country, and there's a bordering country with our country called the Tajikistan. The population of Tajikistan, they speak in that language, in the Tajik language.
Hmm.
So for now, I had some experience when I explained in that language to the people who speaks in Tajik language. So I have never used like writing or reading, but I just only speaking by speaking and explanation, you know.
I see. That's pretty interesting. And I guess, and I bet that as of right now, the four languages that you have already are, giving um, some kind of, good things for you right now. You get to school, you get to, get to your MBA. So I mean, if English is your fourth language, you say?
Yeah, it's a
I
four.
mean, completing your MBA is a whole accomplishment. So congratulations on that, by the way.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you.
Awesome. So let me ask you another question. You already mentioned for a little bit that just hearing, like listening and talking to your friends and that kind of things were a fundamental part of your process of learning a language. So what was any other method that you used to learn? Did you listen to music, or did you also watch movies, or did you try to write? What was that?
That's a good question. As I mentioned, for when I learned Russian language, I never took a like extra class for this language. I learned by watching mostly Russian movies, like the movies in Russian. And the good method, one of the good method for me, it was watching that movie in that language and plus turning on uh, the CC. What do you call it in
Captions?
English? Captions. That's right. And you watch that movie when they speak in that language, and you listen it, and you understand like uh what word means what kind of action, or what they're talking about. And if you don't understand what's going on, so you can read the captions and understand, hey, they are talking about this, or they're talking about that, or what's the opinion uh in that context. So it was the one of the best way for me to learn the new language. And talking about English, my fluency and pronunciation was not really good, and obviously my grammar also wasn't really good. Okay. And then I started listening a lot of podcasts in English. And plus, I added watching movies or, uh, TED Talks in English with the captions. So while I'm watching some video, movie, or TED Talk or podcast, I just read with the captions and listen it, read it together. So, and sometimes I do, I speak myself when let's say I'm watching a podcast, right, with captions, with subtitles, and they speak about something, some new word that I don't know, that I don't understand, and I get that word, just immediately go like translate that word, and I repeat that word for myself, like how to pronounce it, and like I go back on the video or movie, how they pronouncing it, how they're saying it. So I repeat it for myself if I'm saying it correctly, pronouncing it correctly. So these are for me the best ways to learn a new language.
That's amazing. And again, that takes a lot of determination to just try by yourself, trying to pronounce by yourself with
Yep.
the help of anyone. Uh, you're very smart, man.
Thanks. I'm not
Just
really smart, but thank you.
all right. Just this is kind of a weird question. That with four languages in your head, have you have any times when you mix up all those languages in your mind and you don't know what to say? What do you do in those cases?
Oh, it happens a lot, to be honest. So when I'm class, I have to, think in English.
Yeah.
When I talk to my like family members with my wife, I have to, you know, think in Uzbek, or I have some Russian friends. I have to think in Russian. It's sometimes like it's really hard. I think in four languages, and I don't know what to say to them. And I have a friend actually. He also speaks four languages. So he graduated recently. He's working for Colorado State. And whenever you listen to our conversation, it's pretty interesting. It's like weirdest conversation you have ever had because we speak in four language with him. Our conversation goes in four languages. So let's say one word, 10, like one, let's say one word, small and with 10 sentences. So two of them in Russian, one in Tajik, one in Uzbek, and other in English. So that's
The
that's
whole
pretty,
thing.
yeah, that's a pretty weird conversation. Sometimes, I want to express my feeling, or I want to say what I'm feeling and what I'm thinking, my opinion, and I can't remember that word. Let's say I'm talking with that person in English. I cannot remember that word. I'm talking about like I mean with my friend, and I
Mhm.
say that word in Russian. The same thing, like if I speak with him in Russian, I can if I cannot remember the word what I want to use, I speak that word in Uzbek or in Tajik or sometimes in English. So it only works with my friend, but sometimes
Because he's the only one who speaks four
that's
languages.
right. That's right. And other times, in other cases, most of the time, I would say I think in Uzbek. And it happens sometimes I mix the language when I'm thinking, but most of the time I try to uh, think in Uzbek. And if you want to say that to other, like in Russian, in English, I translate it right away in my head and I say it.
I see. That's good. I mean, that's what I hear is just sometimes in the head of anyone with like bilingual or with a lot of different languages in the head.
Hmm.
That happens a lot of times because you just
Yep.
go
Yep.
blank and you don't know what is the word that you have to use. It
That's
happens to
right.
me with the Spanish and
Yep.
English sometimes. Like I don't remember this word in Spanish, and Spanish is my mother language. So that is very interesting in the mind. The brain sometimes do a couple of things that are not very funny. Um, so with all those languages in your head and learning by yourself, at some point you had to find a way to produce and to talk to people and to test it by
Mhm.
yourself with other people and making sure that you were actually making some progress on that.
Mhm.
And I'm sure that you make some mistakes on that. So how do you deal with embarrassment and making those mistakes?
Okay. Um, it happened a lot to me before because my Russian, my English, uh, they were not really good. When I spoke in Russian back in my country, when like first starting speaking in that language, I made a lot of grammatical mistakes, and plus I had a very poor vocabulary.
Hmm.
When we were like younger age, my friends or the other people, they make fun of me. Hey, you don't know how to say properly that language. And um, I got nervous at that time. And when I speak with them, and I'm thinking in my mind, like, what if I make a mistake? What if I make some not proper way to speak to say that word? So first, it was hard for me because I was a very shy guy. Um, just sometimes I even didn't want to speak, didn't want to say what I'm thinking in the language because I afraid of making I'm gonna thinking about I'm gonna make some mistakes and they're gonna uh, make me laugh about me. So this kind
Hmm.
of things. And but like when you get older, you start understanding. So you need to learn that thing even with their mistakes. So I found out that making mistakes are mistakes are your best friends. So if you don't make mistake, you don't learn. So when I speak in English sometimes or in Russian, sometimes I of course I have a lot of mistakes even now. So if that person is a native speaker or speaks better than me, I always ask him, hey, did I make a mistake? Or if I'm not sure about that word, hey, is it the correct way saying that word, or am I correctly pronouncing this word? So I ask like openly. So I don't know, maybe we are older now. So they understand it well, and they just explain me the proper way how to say or how to speak that language.
That's a great approach. I remember doing this exact same thing before, and usually people is very open to talk and very open to do
Hmm.
uh, uh, kind correction
That's
of the
right.
mistakes that we made. So yeah,
Absolutely.
I feel sometimes it's just a matter of let's give it a try, and if
Yeah.
we do
Yeah.
something wrong, that is learning, that is a process. So that's amazing. This is a quick question for you. What do you think is more important for the process of learning a language? Uh, is talent the most important, or is consistency the most important? What do you think?
Uh, Without consistency, your talent is worthless, I would say. I know some people, they have really good, they are talented, they are smart. They listen something and they understand it. They can pronounce it correctly, like even like, some other language, let's say Arabic, Japanese or Chinese.
Hmm.
They hear it and they can pronounce it like, like a native speaker. But if they don't work on work on that language or work on themselves to learn the language, they talent is worthless because they don't put their effort on their talent. So talent is like, I would say, roughly saying, it's a raw material. So you got to give some shape on it. If you don't give shape, it stays like a raw material, like a rock, I would say, uh, if it's a good word. Um, it stays like a rock, and that's it. You cannot do anything with that rock. But if you have a consistency, and if you are a hardworking guy, if you work on yourself, you can build something from that rock. You can shape it, something like that.
That's amazing. Well, now is the moment for you to give advice to the world, right?
Okay.
And to whoever is listening to this podcast, this is gonna be the words of wisdom from Sardor. So if someone wants to learn, if someone wants to learn a language today, what is the first step you'll tell them to take?
Okay, but that's pretty hard question for me. Because there are a lot of methods, a lot of ways to learn new language, but from my experience, the easiest way uh, to start learning a new language, I would say, just start listening some music or at least some podcast in that language, or start watching some videos in that language. Because if you want to just start learning by like speaking with someone else, you will make some progress, but not enough to learn in a short period of time. But if you start listening and watching with subtitles, as I mentioned, uh, you will learn like small amount of that language from time, so you can learn like you can start speaking in that language. But uh, shortly speaking, I would say just start listening a lot of podcast, music, or start watching movie in that language.
Yeah, familiarize with the sounds, familiarize with the words.
Yep.
That's insightful, man. And thank you very much for sharing your journey, your way of learning the languages. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much, David. This is my experience. This is how I did, how I learned. I'm still making mistakes in English, in Russian, in all the like other language that I speak, but I'm learning. I'm still learning.
Life is a whole path of learning. So
Absolutely right.
hopefully you're gonna learn two or more languages for the
Oh, for
future,
sure. I would love
and
to learn new language.
keep me posted on that. Okay.
Oh, for sure, definitely.
Awesome. Thank you, Sardor.
Thank you, David.
Thank you for listening this episode of the Fluency Project. If this episode inspired you, share it with someone who's learning a language. For more tools and stories, visit us at thefluencyproject.com. Until next time.